Roy Nemer, Argentine journalist, owner of the Mundo Albiceleste news outlet. Welcome.
Thank you, C, for having me.
Not at all, not at all. Obvious reason for having you on. Let's get straight into it. Obviously, with the subplot of Chelsea and United this weekend, it's Alejandro Garnacho coming back to Old Trafford so soon after leaving. Overall, I think it's fair to say his career started well at Old Trafford. FA Youth Cup winner, FA Cup winner, finalist scorer against City. But then last season didn't start brilliantly for him under Eric Ten Hag. It didn't go particularly well under Ruben Amorim either. And little more than a year after the FA Cup final, he was gone. What was your view? What was your understanding of how that situation developed?
Initially, I was a little bit surprised, to be honest, especially towards the tail end of the season. I thought maybe he might stay this year, especially considering it's a World Cup year, and obviously he wants to make the team for Argentina to be at the World Cup. So I wasn't necessarily expecting a move, but when the rumors started happening and everything I started to hear, it became more and more evident that his place in United or at United didn't look like he was going to stay there for long. So for me, at that point, that became clear. What was unclear was his destination. We heard rumors throughout the transfer market. He was going to go to Italy, maybe for Napoli or elsewhere, and then Chelsea emerged. And for me, I'm nothing against Chelsea. I just don't know if it's the right fit for him. A very good coach, a great coach, obviously Club World Cup winners and whatnot. But with the amount of players that they have, and especially in his position, and he's still very raw, still very young, even though he's been playing for a couple of seasons now, that part surprised me. So for him to go there, there has to be some sort of mindset for him going in to say, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to prove everybody wrong.
How is he viewed generally in Argentina?
To be honest with you, not he's not someone that a lot of people talk about, mostly because he was born and raised in Spain. And when he elected to play for Argentina, a lot of the fans kind of looked at him as in, who is this person? This person's born in Madrid. He's a massive Cristiano Ronaldo fan. And that doesn't, for a lot of people that rubbed them the wrong way. But he had that season or season and a half with United where he did very well. And then he was selected for the Copa America last year, the one that he ended up winning with Argentina. And that was the big thing of, okay, let's see how he integrates into the team because his accent is different. He didn't drink the mate, for example. He was pro Cristiano. He was a Spain fan, represented Spain at youth level. And that was almost supposed to be his coming out party. And then after Argentina won the Copa America, there were videos in the locker room, him celebrating, and specifically Rodrigo de Paul grabbing him with everybody and having him celebrate and just overall with the trophy and with the players. So in that sense, I feel like he's won at least a large portion of the fans over. At one point, Rodrigo de Paul was asked by a journalist that asked him, what do you think of Garnacho and his accent? Because his accent is different. And DePaul just shut it down. I said, he's Argentine. I don't know what you're trying to start. He's Argentine and he's a kid and he's still learning, which I think was a good response. So
Yeah.
I think overall, a lot of the fans have warmed up to him. Now it's just a matter of him actually performing, doing well, and getting back into the team.
You said yourself there, and I agree with that, that there was a bit of surprise that he stayed in the Premier League in terms of having the options to go. And I think he would really tear it up in Serie A or Spain, for instance. Is that a view that's generally shared around Argentina?
To be honest, everyone I've spoken with within Argentina, it's it's a mixed feelings. Again,
Yeah.
it's mixed feelings because he at one point he played for Atletico Madrid's youth system. Now, playing for Atletico Madrid's youth system a couple of years ago is very different than playing for Diego Simeone's current setup, which is a very pragmatic approach. So in that sense, him going to Spain, for example, limited in terms of teams. He wasn't going to go to Real Madrid, at least not now, even though he's a
Yeah.
big fan. He was never going to go to Barcelona. And if you're going to go to Spain, realistically speaking, those are the two biggest teams. And if you're not going to go there, I think for him, it was almost okay, it's not Spain. I'm not going to go to Paris. I'm not going to go to Germany. I'm going to stay in England. And to be honest with you, again, everyone I've spoken with, not that they're surprised, but taking a look at it, I don't believe he had too many options elsewhere.
Okay. Okay. It's quite well known that his people around him are they're not afraid of going to the media. That's is probably a nice way to put it. Is there much out there? Do you know how he's feeling about this game, about coming back so soon, or what reception he might be expecting?
I haven't heard much in terms of him going back to Old Trafford and what's going to happen there. What I have heard is it's murmurs here and there, as they say, but he is motivated, of course, and he wants to play. He wants to do well. He wants to prove himself. And I think just like any other player going back to your old club, I'm not saying he's going to score, but I think if he were to score, I don't think he would celebrate. I think me personally, I do believe he does love United and has a place in his heart. And I don't think he would celebrate if he were to score. And I say this, and he might not even play.
Mhm.
But in terms of the reception, I don't know what we're gonna get, and I don't know personally what he's expecting. But I do think that if he does play, I'm hoping he gets some sort of not completely jeered, let's say, not complete
Yeah,
whistles.
my gut feeling is that it would be a mixed thing. We saw a piece come out today, a couple of pieces come out in England of it's going to be not hellish for him, but it's going to be a difficult reception. I just don't see that. That's not really how United fans work, and he's not come out and slated the club or anything. I know obviously Angel Di Maria, for instance, was quite outspoken about it just it didn't work for him and his family there. And when he's been back with Paris, there's been a bit of aggro with the supporters, which is fine. I don't see any of that with Ghana.
No, neither do I, and it's something very important that you mentioned. I didn't read a single word of Garnacho coming out and attacking United. I didn't see a bit of that. Every time he celebrated, it was always for United, with United. At times he would kiss the badge and whatnot. But no, I didn't see anything. And I know a lot of people like to attack players, whether it's Garnacho or anyone else, whenever they leave the club. And at one point, I saw people talking online saying, "Well, Garnacho's joined Chelsea. It's been 2 days now, and he hasn't even put up a thank you post on his social media thanking United or the fans." Ultimately, he did.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's nothing too negative for him because I do think he loves the club.
You mentioned there him celebrating the goals. I think he's the only player I've seen who's been subbed off, run back on, and get a booking for celebrating after Kobbie Mainoo scored at Wolves.
That's very true. I'm trying to think of another player off
Yeah.
the top of my head. I can't think of one right now. He's Look, he's still obviously he's very young, but he's very passionate, good or bad. People could say whatever they want. He's at least very passionate, and in football these days, that's not something you see with every single player, unfortunately.
There you have it. And while I've got you, obviously, as Mr. Argentina, the expert, I have to quickly talk to you about Lisandro Martinez, who we're hearing today is on the recovery trail. He's getting closer and closer. How is he viewed in Argentina?
Oh, he's loved. No one will say a single bad word about Lisandro Martinez with Argentina. And if anything, people are they're clamoring for him to come back. They can't wait for him to come back, and myself included, just because the partnership that he has formed alongside Christian Romero of Tottenham Hotspur. It's a sensational partnership at center back, the both of them. And he's someone that I think if he plays for your club, you love him. He gives 110% in every single match. He goes into every tackle as if it was his last. He celebrates a tackle as if it was a goal, uh, be it for Manchester United or Argentina. And he's someone, again, you won't find a single person questioning, doubting, or saying anything negative about Lisandro.
So in terms of the World Cup next summer, if he's fit, he's there.
100%, and I wouldn't be surprised if he starts either. And we saw that at the Copa America, where even actually a little bit before that, going into the World Cup for Argentina in 2022, Lisandro Martinez was part of the squad. He didn't start every single game. I believe he only started one match versus the Netherlands. The rest was the partnership of Christian Romero and Nicolas Otamendi, formerly of Manchester City. Going into the Copa America last year, that changed. It was Lisandro Martinez and Cristiano Romero as the two center backs. They both started the Copa America final, and they were a big part of why Argentina won that final as well. So for me, if he's fit and he's at the World Cup, 100% he starts, especially considering that Nicolas Otamendi is suspended for the first match for Argentina at the World Cup.
There you go. And of course, I don't think I think it's fair to say that his grinter has been missed at United as well.
I mean, I did not want to say it, but you did. Yeah, it's again, it goes back to that passion, right? That passion, that always giving it your all. And as I mentioned earlier, unfortunately, it's not something you see in football these days, not often. And someone like Lisandro, especially at the back, you need that who will command the back line, who will shout, who will point out instructions, and he'll get the fans going and he gets the team going. And I think that's needed in every team.
Perfect. Roy, thank you very, very much for your time. You're a gentleman.
My my pleasure, Steve. Anytime. Thank you.